There's really good news for you for chapters 11, 12, and 13. No test on these chapters. There is the Cengage Mind Tap homework, of course, and you'll see that in the module. The important thing to remember for chapters 11, 12, and 13, these chapters are your reference when your team is doing your business project, the team project. It's really important to be able to write well, research it, set up how you're going to do your project, etc. And these chapters, especially chapter 11, gives you the basis for the team project. So use that as a reference. We'll have some slides focusing on chapter 11. We'll have a summary slide as well for 12 and 13. It's up to you to take a look at the written material in the textbook, as well as, of course, taking care of your Mind Tap Cengage homework and using, again, the chapters as a reference for your team project. Good luck. You may be wondering if you'll ever be writing a business report in the course of your career, but these are routine reports that managers and teams need to know so that you can keep up with a project, and you need to be able to explain this well to your audience. In-depth reports are probably what we're focusing more on now so that you can get an idea of how to convince and inform your audience. Business reports convey the information that a management team or a customer client needs to know, answer the questions that they've posed to you, and of course solves the problem. Reports can be informational as well as analytical. It's usually one or the other, not quite both. For informational reports, it's data with no analysis, opinion, recommendations. Here are the facts. Here are the details that you asked for. And often they are periodic and happen occasionally. Analytical reports do dive into the data, findings, the analysis, and comes up with conclusions. There could also be recommendations. These would be actions that are based on the facts, the conclusions that you've come up with. Often, analytical reports persuade the reader or audience. The direct strategy means that your audience knows something about the topic and will accept the information that you're providing. Indirect strategy, you have to work a little bit harder to inform them about the facts. When you're writing the informal letter report, which is what we'll be doing for the team project, it's a short report, sometimes sent to outsiders. You might be trying to persuade a client or customer to go along with a new program or service, and can also be internal as well. The headings that you use guide your audience along the way. They're really important because they can be engaging and tell the story as well. Sort of a headline that will get the reader to go from section to section. In this case, in the team project case, we will not be submitting a PDF. It's always going to be a document. Any of the documents that you'll be submitting, your team will be submitting for this project, will be documents or something that is editable. I can't edit a PDF easily. Again, use the format that we've talked about in class here and that you're learning in terms of your business writing. It's single space, 0 point, and then double space between paragraphs. You can have single space, but there's 12 points in between the sentence, so you can see there's way too much white space. Here you'll see this is a correct format. And do leave the blank lines above each side heading so that you can have that white space. They can see the headlines, and that will guide them along as well. Use the typical margins that you would use for a good business letter. Any headings to keep your reader moving along are important, including identifying information, page number as well. Sometimes they will print it out. If you have a template that your organization uses, that's the format that you should go by. For your team project, the executive summary or introduction summarizes the plan or proposal, no more than 2 paragraphs, just tells us what it's about. Engage your audience. Let's not make the first sentence be, this report is about. Let's get your audience engaged. in some creative, interesting way that is going to grab their attention. You may have to dive into the background, explain a problem or history, and that might be something that you need to persuade them about. The summary of the proposal and the plan details is your executive summary and introduction. It's just a few sentences, and you can bullet point them, but make those bullet points be understandable. Read out loud to make sure what you've written is the right thing. And then also in the executive summary or introduction, briefly touch on the conclusion and or recommendation wherever appropriate. The body of your plan proposal in your letter, this is the longest section. Share the writing, share the editing, make sure you're telling the story well. Headings, subheadings to lead your audience through each paragraph. Images can be included as well. It makes it visually interesting to read rather than just looking at a lot of text. Charts and graphs can also tell the story. Focus on audience benefits. What will your audience gain out of this product, service? It's a who, what, when, where, why, and how of your story that you're trying to tell. Conclusions, again, are the facts based on the data that you've assembled. Recommendations are the actions to offer improvement, to begin the program, that sort of thing. Also, wrap it all up with final remarks and a goodwill closing. Include each team name. This is a business letter report, so you must sign it and include everyone's name and any way for your audience to get in touch with your business team. A separate document will be your works cited page that will touch on any surveys that you've used, any budget information, biographies of team members, etc., if you feel that it's necessary. Also, all of your citations and references. I hope it's something more than just Googling something. The team project requires regular contact and responses. The worst thing that can happen is when a team member ghosts the team and just disappears. You'll get together once you introduce each other and you'll brainstorm, come up with your work plan, including all of the assignments for researching, drafting, writing, editing, as well as down the road, putting your presentation together, which is done as a team. It is an individual grade. The team letter report is a team grade. Whatever platform you decide to use, whether it's Google Drive or something else, figure out a way to share the duties, share the work, and be in communication. You have to step up and reach out to me with questions. I am your overall supervisor, and I can take that 30,000-foot view to help guide your team to success. Chapter 11, of course, has many more details about researching your business topics, how to put together a survey. Page 397, highly recommend it. 7 Steps to Business Reports. Chapter 12 and 13 dive into a lot more detail about what goes into a business report. I wish you well and reach out with your questions.